Games just finished at Desmond, 2 each. West Ham 2, Bournemouth 2. What could have been classified as a pointless game, really, for West Ham, because really, what are we fighting for? Team selection came out. You could be confused as what we've been over the last couple of weeks with him, the team selection. However, Graham Potter is only working with what he's got in front of him, and that is proving to be not a huge amount that's in front of him. So, actually thought the game was quite entertaining from an outsider's point of view, someone who's not invested in either team. If they were watching that game, I think it was actually a reasonably good game. West Ham had their moments in the game. Bournemouth had their moments in the game. Obviously, they hit the bar. They had a couple of contested VAR decisions, but they were correct. Both goals were onside. West Ham scoring 2 goals. Good to get Bowen back on the score sheet again. Good to get Füllkrug on the score sheet again. But what I took from that game more than anything is that we do need the focal point. We do need the player up top, and I think that we reap benefits when we have a player like someone like Füllkrug up top and allow Bowen to go back out to a position that he's keen at doing, and driving infield from outside. You know, the inside forward, you could say. And Paquetá really benefits from having that focal point up top, and having that focal point allows Paquetá to be the creative player that we know he can be, and he did that today. He was, in my opinion, one of our better players in that game. But really, one of the biggest points I want to bring up is I just can't get my head around the fall from grace that Mohamed Kudus has had. I can't pinpoint exactly what's gone wrong. His head's switched, his head's gone, he doesn't want to be at the club, I don't know. And it pains me to say that, because I love him, and I know, and we all know as West Ham fans, that he can be a world beater. We know that, but the fall from grace from Kudus has been phenomenal. Like, you know, apart from the cross in for Bowen's header, which fantastic header that was, he lost the ball a lot. He really did. He lost the ball loads, and he just looked like he was fed up. He looked like he was gutted at doing it, but he was fed up, and that's really noticeable on the park. Also, the other big issue, and we all know this, is the midfield. It's just so slow, and the changes were the right decisions to be made, and maybe the game could have changed earlier if we had maybe made those decisions earlier, or we maybe have changed the starting lineup. But yeah, we're so slow in the midfield, and again, I'm about to say something here that I think pains me to say it, but I just don't think Alvarez has got it. I think it's a hard act to follow when he came in on the back of Declan Rice. And we all know that Tommy Souček has definitely got to stay at this club. No matter what role he plays, he's got to play some form of role at the club. And people will slag off James Ward-Prowse for how slow he is, but he moves the ball. At least he moves the ball. So he's got to be a squad player for West Ham moving forward. But lots to be said from Graham Potter pulling Alvarez and Souček off and leaving James Ward-Prowse on the park. I don't know. We all feel the same when it comes to West Ham this season. You know, it's going to take a miracle for a team that's in the bottom 3 to survive. So, you know, with what, 7 games to go, nothing to play for. What we just need the season to do is kind of end in the most positive way that we can. I'd be giving the players that don't have a lot of time on the park, because they need that time in the park to be able to demonstrate that they're capable of being at West Ham next season. We need the rebuild. We've got to rebuild. The commentators were even saying that, like, we've got a big rebuild, so we need to consider our options this summer, and we're going to have that shuffle coming in. And I think that this summer rebuild under Graham Potter has to be monumental, but in the most positive way possible. When I say monumental, I don't mean we need to go and sign 60 million players, 50 million players, 40 million pound players. We need to let Potter cook. We need to give him the relevant funds, the relevant support, the relevant room in the team, the relevant wages to be able to do his job in this team, on this team. And I think with that, we can. Defensively, I think we are okay. ish. I think we need, obviously, recruits there. I think we've got a Gerd who's out on loan, who I think we should bring back and give another chance at the club. But whether or not he want to come back, I don't know. But we obviously need to recruit strength and depth in that area of departments. But when it comes to the midfield, we're desperate for energy, for life. You know, when I think back to the summer of us signing players and looking at players, Fofana would have been that player. Fofana would have been the one. Fofana would have been the one that I'd have desperately wanted, that we didn't get at the time. But we need that energy, that drive, that creativity in that middle of the park, and we need to change something going forward, because right now we rely heavily on Jared Bowen, and if we can somehow reverse that and share that workload across the rest of the team going forward, then it would be more beneficial for us. But listen, we all know where this season's at. We all know we're watching it with anticipation of the summer, knowing who's going to be here, who's not going to be here, what's Potter going to do, what's he not going to do. But all we know is things need to change if we want to improve for the next season. And by God, we need to improve. It's been a hard slog. We all know that. The last 3 seasons before that have been exciting, albeit Premier League form's not been great, but it's been a hard slog, and something needs to give and change moving into this summer. And I think, it comes down to let Potter cook. Let Potter cook. Give him the time. Anyway, 2 each. See you on the other side. Come on, your hands.